Mr. Davis, Ash, why are you doing this? I'm David Menzies, Rebel News.
Hi. No, you're not really a part of this. Human rights!
What about the human rights of biological women being injured by this man? As a mother, why would you expose your kids to a massage?
That is my partner! That is my wife that you are being...
So he's a lesbian?
Not her calling that man with male pattern baldness her wife. Oh, Canada. Hello, everyone. If you are a new viewer, welcome. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. If this is your second, third, fourth, fifth time watching one of my videos and you are not yet subscribed, we already go together. Just make it official. Wife me up like that woman wifed up her husband.
That is my wife!
Oh gosh, today's story was sent to me by one of my fellow Canadian subscribers. So thank you, Haley, for sending me this video. This video has been going viral. It was reported by Rebel News, and this story is insane. This story is about this beautiful woman right here named Ash Davis. This beautiful woman, this 5'10", 220-pound, male pattern baldness, beautiful woman. Ash is a man, in case you couldn't tell by my sarcasm. And last year, Ash played on the men's team. And while he was a player on the men's team, he was awarded the title of hardest hitter. Bruh. But apparently, tackling men was not fulfilling enough for Ash. He decided to declare himself a woman, and he is now playing on the women's team. And the reason that this story is making headlines is because during one of the games where he was playing with the women, he injured 3 women on the opposing team's side. 3 women were hospitalized after being tackled by Ash. And the referee actually had to take Ash out of the game because of his conduct. It is alleged that the injuries that the women sustained were a result of being dump tackled. Now, if you're like me and you barely watch sports and you never watch rugby and you don't know what a dump tackle is, here is an example of it. A dump tackle is a technique used in rugby where the tackler wraps their arms around the ball carrier's thighs and lifts them in the air before forcibly driving them to the ground. This man did that to 3 women, and they ended up needing medical attention. Pardon my French, but this man is a bitch. There, I said it. No, but seriously, what kind of a punk ass feels good doing that type of shit to women? Touché. One of the injured players had this to say: I had never been hit like that before. Even at the competitive women's level, there was so much more brute force. There are women who are bigger than him, but no girl hits like that. This is a strong human. So news about the 3 injured women got around, and here is where Rebel News comes in. So the footage that I am about to show you was from a news report that Rebel News did at the game after the incident happened. So this is not the game where the 3 women got injured. This is a game that was played against another team after the incident.
And what can I tell you? This is yet another edition of how Transanity continues. You see, there was a member of the Fergus team who is a biological male. Just look at him. His name is Ash Davis. He doesn't resemble a female at all. I mean, he's not even trying to pull off the scam with a fake wig or giant breasts a la our favorite Halton District School Board teacher, Busty Lemieux. It's inexplicable. I mean, with the exception of auto racing and equestrian, the genders are divided, especially for a sport like rugby. You know, some people are comparing this to the Leah Thomas situation in the U.S. with the male swimmer cleaning the clocks of biological female swimmers, but it's far worse in rugby. Rugby is a contact sport. At least all the swimmers in female swimming have their own protected lane.
What is the point of having a female division if men can play in it? People who make the argument that anyone who identifies as a woman should therefore be allowed to compete in women's sports are making the argument for one of 2 reasons. A, because they are sheep and they have been indoctrinated into the cult of stupidity, or B, because they are making an emotional argument. Discrimination is an unpleasant word and it doesn't feel good to discriminate against anyone, but not all discrimination is malicious. There is a reason that adults don't play against children in sports, for the protection and the safety and for the enjoyment of the children. And the same logic applies to women's sports. And these are the guidelines that were set out by the World Rugby Federation as it pertains to trans and non-binary people playing rugby. Transgender women may not currently play women's rugby. Why? Because of the size, force, and power-producing advantages conferred by testosterone during puberty and adolescence, and the resultant player welfare risk this creates. The guidelines for transgendered women also cites research that states that when a biological man is put on testosterone suppressants for a period of 12 months, the biological changes are not significant enough to eliminate the biological differences and the competitive advantage that the man has, and it also does not reduce the risk of harm to the female players. And in terms of transgender men may play men's rugby provided confirmation of physical ability. Transgendered men may not play women's rugby after the process of sex reassignment has begun, if this reassignment includes supplementation with testosterone. Why? Transgender men need to provide confirmation of physical ability to ensure they are not putting themselves at an unacceptable level of risk when playing against men. The guidelines goes on to say that they are not concerned that the transgendered men will be a harm to their teammates or to the opposing team, but that essentially they're afraid that the transgender man will get hurt, and so the transgender man needs to be aware of all of the risk that comes with playing rugby against men. So all of these guidelines are actually worded in such a way to protect the most vulnerable players, aka biological women. But according to some idiots, this is bigotry. And the Canadian Rugby Association is one of those idiots. In Canada, the policy states that a player does not have to present any evidence that they are surgically or medically transitioning to play on the team of their choice. So basically, it's a free-for-all. We are so progressive that we have regressed. Oh my God, I love living here.
You're the reason this species is a failure, and it makes me angry.
Ash, why are you doing this? I'm David Menzies, Rebel News.
Hi. No, you're not really a part of this. We're having a team chat now.
Okay, I'm just trying to ask some questions,
Sorry,
ma'am.
but this is not the appropriate time for that.
Why are you allowing a biological male to compete against female
I'm
players?
not going to have a conversation with you.
Well, I'll talk to Ash then. Ash, do you take joy in injuring female rugby players? Are you lacking the skills to play with male players where you should be? You're a biological male, aren't you?
I got you. I'm
Right here. Thank you, sir. No one.
Mr. Ash, are you a misogynist?
coming with me.
Please leave your please.
Hey, watch it. You'll be charged with assault.
Child. Would you mind leaving?
Mr. Ash, the governing body for rugby, World Rugby, says men should not compete.
Lives matter.
Wow, really?
All lives matter.
All lives matter. All lives matter. Human rights matter.
You don't have a problem.
You can leave now.
Human
Yeah,
rights
thank you, sir.
issue.
No, thank you.
This is a human rights issue.
Oh, okay then.
We live in Canada. All rights, human rights for everybody.
Rights matter.
No, I think you.
Rights matter. To call the police.
Oh, okay, fine. Call the police.
I will.
Okay, what's the charge? What's the charge? Oh yeah. Oh, don't cry. There's
Human
no-
chain, human chain.
Hey, excuse me.
Human chain,
Wow,
I'm sorry,
isn't this
sir.
amazing?
Human chain.
I've never had such female
Human
attention.
rights. Human
It's
rights
unbelievable.
matter.
As you can see, many of the women on the rugby team were coming to Ash's defense and they were unwilling to have a civil conversation with the reporter. And I think this is very indicative of the times that we are living in. Many people have chosen their side and they refuse to engage in conversation with someone that they see as their opposition. And mainstream media and news does a very good job at feeding into this division. So much so that it is often very difficult to get a balanced view on trending news stories. But I have found a solution to this problem, and the solution that I found is Ground News. Ground News is an app and website that gathers all the world's media in one place so readers can compare coverage and see the full picture of what's being reported around the world. With Ground News, you will gain a deeper understanding of the complexity and nuance of different issues by identifying media narratives. For every story, you get a visual breakdown of the news outlet's reporting, which entity owns the source, how factual the source is, their political bias, and which countries are covering the story. Take, for example, this story. Trans men enter Miss Italy pageant in droves after trans women are told they can't compete. According to the biased distribution, this story is being reported by 21 news sources. 56% of them are left-leaning and 44% are right-leaning. Ground News also summarizes who owns the media outlets reporting on stories. In the case of this story, it is largely being reported by media conglomerates and wealthy private owners. Ground News is offering my audience 30% off unlimited access, but to access this discount, you have to click my link in the description box down below, ground.news/NissCee. This offer is only available until August 31st, 2023, so don't forget to check out my link in the description box down below. Thank you to Ground News for sponsoring this video. The women who were defending this man are misguided. They are yelling things like all lives matter while blatantly ignoring the fact that forcing women to play in a contact sport such as rugby against a man is literally putting their lives at risk, which leads me to assume that they probably don't care about that fact. They are probably more than happy to have a competitive advantage against the women that they're playing against. And when the reporter asked one of the spectators his thoughts on this situation, this ridiculous exchange took place.
Would you like to weigh in about this male player playing on a female team, sir?
I don't care, I'm impartial.
Okay then, so why is this being allowed? Because World Rugby, the governing body, says this is against the rules. You can't have biological males playing against biological females.
Yeah, I don't know, I guess they just... Yeah, what's a biological female?
Well, I would imagine if you're born with female genitalia versus male genitalia.
Where did you get your PhD?
Pardon me?
You're defining a biological female. Where did you get your PhD?
So I'm defining a, but ma'am, in the history of sports, all sports, with the exception of equestrian or auto race.
There for history. I'm only 19 years old. I cannot say what happened 20 years ago because I wasn't.
No, but in the here and now, you see male tennis, female tennis, right?
I don't see any tennis. I don't watch tennis.
Oh, okay then. So it doesn't exist then.
To me, you can't ask me a question about it because I have no idea. Just the same as you can't talk about what a female is if you're not a doctor.
I can't? What is a female then? Do you have a definition?
No, I'm not a doctor.
Well, how do you like that? You have to be a doctor in order to define what a female is.
Notice how when the reporter asked the young boy how he feels about a male playing on an all-female team, the boy says that he is impartial, which means he understands the difference between a male and a female. But then the young girl decided to be a smartass and interject and act like she doesn't know what it is. She doesn't know what a female is, despite the fact that she is one. As infuriating as it is to watch these dumb bunnies act like they don't know what a female is, do you notice how the girl said her age? She said she's only 19 years old. So this grown-ass man is playing rugby with girls as young as 19? What? How are the parents okay with this? And I found some photos of Ash online, and Ash clearly has a fetish for dressing up in women's clothing and women's makeup. So it's a bit concerning to me that this man who seemingly has this fetish is being allowed to change in the change room with these young girls.
That was rich, folks. We were told to stop filming a change room. The only problem is we're on the outside of the change room. We can't see anything. Ash is inside, presumably getting naked with people like this.
I'm a registered social worker, sir, and I demand human rights for everybody.
Oh, okay.
I demand human rights for everybody. Human rights for everybody.
Can I play ringette with 5-year-old girls?
Human rights for everybody.
What was that? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Human rights for everybody. Do you see the change room sign?
We're not in the change room.
Human rights for everybody.
Number 24 is a real delight, wouldn't you say? There is a biological male in a female change room.
Okay. All right. Well, that's not a criminal offense at all, is it?
Oh, okay. Then, well, I guess you're right. At the Pride Parade in Toronto, you can go full frontal nudity in a public street and not get charged either.
Yeah.
I don't know what is a crime anymore.
Well, Sometimes we all ask ourselves that, right?
Okay, then.
We're just simply here to keep the peace, and that's kind of our role here today.
Oh, okay. I understand that, officer. Our role is practicing journalism, and we're just asking questions.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So this man just gets to change with the women and everyone has to deal with it. There is a good chance that this man actually has autogynephilia. I don't think he has gender dysphoria because someone who has gender dysphoria would actually be trying to pass. This man is making 0 attempts to pass as a woman, but he enjoys cross-dressing. And autogynephilia is characterized by heterosexual men, so men who are attracted to women, but also are sexually aroused at the thought of them being women. There is a distinct possibility that because this team is indulging him and recognizing him as a woman and allowing him to change with other women, that this could all be a part of his fetish. And these 19-year-old girls are being forced to participate in this bullshit. Regardless of his motivations, this shouldn't be allowed. And according to the reporter, there are some people on the team who are actually uncomfortable with Ash being a teammate.
Well, folks, I got to tell you, I never expected a reaction like that. You saw the vitriol that was hurled at Efren and I by his teammates. As for those who have a contrarian opinion, they would only speak to us off camera and off the record. They support the light that we're trying to shed on this egregious situation. But you know how it is, folks. We live in a day and age of cancel culture. They'll be branded as transphobes, bigots, etc. And, well, again, another example of the tyranny of the minority.
It's ridiculous that these young women are being forced to jeopardize their safety to satisfy the desires of this man. Anyways, that's all I have for this video. If you liked this video and you would like to spread awareness, please don't forget to hit the like button. It does help my video in the algorithm. If you are not yet subscribed to my channel and you would like to keep up with my uploads, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. If you would like to keep up with me on social media, I do have an Instagram account and you can follow me at NissCee.Social on Instagram. And I would also like to thank my patrons. Right now, there are only a handful of you who are supporting me on Patreons, but still I'm grateful for the small little bit of supporters that I do have. So I do want to recognize you. So thank you. And if you would like to see more content just like this, I have 2 more videos that I think you will enjoy in the end cards. Thank you to Ground News for sponsoring this video. I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye.